This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, welcome back. We are going to get stuck into things fairly quickly, but before we do, I wanted to run over a couple of things which I had talked about before, which hadn't really been super relevant up until this point, but has started to be a bigger issue in the grand scheme of things, and that is the time passing in Hope's Rise. So I kind of briefly mentioned before that various actions are going to take a different amount of time, and every now and then time is going to pass, and any events you haven't addressed are going to resolve. Now I can inform you that basically, unsurprisingly, with 7 days in a week, every time you hit the end of a week, things will resolve. We are currently at the point where you are kind of reaching the end of your second day. We will be transitioning into the third day after all of the FRI stuff. And other than that, I think we are pretty much good to go in terms of transitioning into your next goal, which, do correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you wanted to deliver the devices to each of the gangs.
Yeah, I think that's our next order of business.
Right. In that case, let's just get going straight away. But there is, I believe you're still actually injured at the moment. So you've got to decide how you want to repair yourself. You were recently given the option to get free repairs by virtue of Leon from the Foundling Creed.
Yes, and I've decided to just while it is slightly tempting to I should wait for the free repairs to be more valuable for me to be more damaged, but seems like kind of a pretty big risk, so I'm just gonna on her way, back home from FRI's place, I think she's just gonna quickly get fixed up and just get the quick partial repair done. But that will I wasn't too injured, so that'll just take care of it.
Yeah. So and I'll be obviously a little bit lenient in terms of the time frame, because we've only just really introduced the concept these days of how much time repairs take. So normally a partial repair of this nature would take half of a day, and you would need to pay one favor for that, but you have explicitly been told it's going to be covered for you, so it's just going to be half a day, which will tip us over into the third day. Alright. Yeah, so you it's not anything of note. You basically drop by the address that Leon gave you. It seems to be a fairly common, one-stop shop place to get yourself stitched up and other things sorted within the Foundling Creed as well. They're a little surprised to see a Dredge there specifically, but once Leon explains kind of what went down, they realize, oh right, this isn't like you trying to get into the Foundling Creed or anything, and they get you stitched up. Leon is once again kind of, I would say, a little shy or a little skittish when you come in. If you want, you can go ahead and make a D10 roll to see if you can tell anything, and if you like, if there is anything that you think would help you with this role in terms of like trying to read him, do mention it, and I might give you a bonus.
I don't think so, because she's just kind of like getting this done. She's not paying the closest attention and doesn't know Leon that well, so.
Alright, in which case just do a raw d10. Okay, now with a 4, he just seems like, you don't know the guy well enough to know if he's just generally kind of a bit of a skittish person, but he seems to be kind of swinging between just like generally pretty friendly and a bit like weird, but whatevs. You get stitched up, you head home, and you're hoping that in due time you'll get word from FRI. But in the meantime, you have a couple of places that you want to deliver these devices to vote on the next dredge, and knowing Brimstone, you don't want to keep it waiting for too long, because he will probably get on your ass in the next few days if you don't.
Yeah, and there's no point in waiting either. I mean, like, again, free time is an opportunity to be seized, so she's just gonna take care of it. And I think she's going to start after she, gets up and around in the morning. She is going to probably head towards the collectors first, and then kind of work her way clockwise around.
Okay. So this first one will take you about half a day. Would you make your way through the contested zone?
Probably going around it, because I imagine the city has some public transport. Probably not the best, but
there's like taxis, but they're kind of dodgy at best, and it's really more like people who are willing to give people a ride. It's like, because keep in mind, there isn't really any governing body in this city outside of, the gangs, and they don't exactly have the infrastructure to set up like buses or whatever.
Yep, no, makes sense. In that case, she will she'll just make her way there walking, and like, it isn't that big of a, exertion to go out of the way of the no man's zone, so yeah, she'll avoid that.
All right, fair move. You do a little bit of a, it's not too much of a circumvention, considering that you kind of live in such an area that you can just kind of quite easily cross over into collector territory. You make your way down the streets, and much like is normally the case whenever you're in collector controlled areas, there is just the all too common sight of various like delinquents and ne'er-do-wells, and also just homeless folk who are all, varying levels of in poor health. Whether it's people who are clearly, are probably on the verge of about to be recruited into the collectors, who are very clearly on hard times, or even you even occasionally see somebody who is, missing a leg or an arm, but the space where you might expect some kind of junk part or cybernetic is actually absent of one. And you imagine that's one of the few people who has either paid off or escaped the gang in some way, though knowing how the collectors are, you imagine they will not be around for long. You make your way to the assigned point. It doesn't really have a name. It is just kind of the place where it's known that you go to talk to, like, the kind of faces of the collectors if you want something done. It's a very common meeting point, especially for Dredge as well. It's run down purely because it's used so often. It's basically this little hub for the collectors, and you can see that it's in a little courtyard, as is shown on the map as well. And that is partially why it is used as such. Whenever you come out into this particularly larger kind of area where, there's actually not as many buildings, The place itself has this massive arch that is almost fashioned like some kind of, some kind of Hollywood Boulevard, like big flashy theater kind of place. But all across of it, and it's constructed almost entirely of various junk. It's stylized in such a way that it almost, as it arcs over from one side to the other, it starts on the left with all of these like purposely crappy and rusted parts, and as it arcs upward and over, you slowly get higher and higher tech looking signage and piping and lighting and everything, seemingly signifying this kind of like supposed like metaphor for the meteoric rise of people in the collectors, so on and so forth. It's contrite, to say the least. But on the inside and lining this courtyard, there is various places that people hang out. There is people just openly in the center of the place as well, getting tattoos, getting cybernetics installed. There is one guy who is just straight up has like half of his skull open at the moment, and you can see all of this wiring and stuff that is being worked on by a mechanic as they kind of give you this side eye as you're walking by. And you go inside of the establishment and see the fairly normal sight of many people buzzing around and seemingly trying to garner favor with various folks. But right at the back of this place, of what you assume might have once been some kind of atrium or foyer for a theater, you can see that there is this group of seating, which would have been where the reception is, where you would have gotten your food and drinks and stuff like that. Sure enough, you know that that's the place to go. And as you are walking up, you do notice that there is a number of people who are kind of watching you go by. Not like everyone, it's not like the place falls silent or something, but you are a Dredge and you have started to establish yourself. So you kind of do turn heads if people know who you are. By all means, how'd you go about this?
Right. Well, as she kind of, walks through the place, she does so purposefully, she's here on business and she knows where she's going, even though, at the same time, she's kind of looking around trying to see, what the vibe is, see if anybody is, obviously in charge, who's kind of running this, Brimstone described it as kind of like one of their smaller kind of junkyard hangouts. So if anybody, I think her plan is to just kind of walk with purpose towards the center, and then whoever comes to talk to her, she'll go from there. Unless there's someone obviously in charge, yeah.
Hey, I mean, if you want, you can make me a roll and give yourself a +1. For being like a Dredge, basically, to see if you can kind of maybe pick somebody out who might be worth talking to. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know why you're here. You're not some lamb in the woods. You are not waiting to be served. And you see that there's this one guy who, contrary to the general rabble that you're all too familiar with when it comes to collectors, he has these cybernetics which are just like pristine chrome and lighting and all of these. It's very clear that he takes huge pride in his cybernetics, and across one of the arms which has been fully replaced, and kind of leading up into his jaw and various other parts of his cybernetics is all of these intricate designs, almost like tattoos in and of themselves, etched into the chrome. And he kind of has very clearly got an eye on you. You can actually see that there is this kind of ancillary tentacle with what you assume to be another eye that's kind of coming out from his neck. And that is what's been keeping an eye on you. And you walk up to him, and yeah, well, how do you introduce? How do you go about this? Go ahead.
She goes up to him, stops a short distance away, kind of folds her arms, and waits for him to, be done with whatever he's doing. She doesn't, call out or anything. She just kind of, waits to be noticed.
He finishes talking, very clearly taking, his time to just finish the point he was making, and you can see, sure enough, all the guys around him are, making sure to pay attention to him whenever he talks, but he finishes up, and there's, a little round of laughter before he goes right, yeah. Hey, you're, what is it? I know you're Dredge. Vex, right?
Yeah, Vex.
Well, what can I do for you?
She just, all business, reaches into, a pocket, pulls out the first device, kind of holds it up for him and his buds to see. I'm here for the Pact of Filth. It's time to name a name.
So soon already? Oh, I guess Mag did bite the dust recently, right? And everyone around him kind of laughs as well and goes, man, maybe we should pick more carefully next time, huh?
She just shrugs.
What? Nothing to say about Mag? He was one of your own, right?
I didn't know him for long enough to say much about him.
You didn't know him long enough to see why we voted on him then. Or at least why the boss voted on him. Well, you seem to be doing well so far. Let's hope the next one's like you, huh? And he kind of holds out his hand as if to accept it. Could you make me a roll with a +2 real quick?
Alright. I don't have any +2s saved in my roll history. This is a momentous occasion.
You kind of, as he holds out his hand, you feel that maybe there is something to be careful of, but you don't know what.
She just tries to, briskly, put the device in his hand and draw her own back into the folded arms position.
You hear the clinking of the metal against his chrome, and he takes it and kind of puts it into his pocket and goes, right, so same as usual? Is there anything changed?
Same as usual, far as I know.
Right. Cool, well, fuck off then.
No problem. She, gives just raises her hand just as this indication and, starts walking away.
You do so, and, yeah, that is one down. Fairly short affair, all things considered, but considering you're gonna have to make your way all the way over to another spot, it's frustrating that it really just does come down to, wow, this really is just a fucking delivery, innit?
Yep. I mean, considering most of the work she does, it's whatever.
So, I will remove that one from the map. And where would you like to go next? What, because you've got two other gangs to communicate with. Who would you like to go to?
I think that she would probably, stop for food while still within the bounds of collector territory. So, just at whatever hole-in-the-wall place she can find on the way there. And then she's just gonna, make her way, towards the Foundling Creed drop point.
Yeah, you stop by one of the spots around here. You don't really have anything of note happen. It's really just the normal vibes of, being amongst all of these gang members and such. The thing you do note is that these spots, it's not as if this entire section of the city is purely inhabited by gang members. There is a very notable presence of them, that is for certain, but there are still normal people living here. You see, amidst the crowd that's in this, like, hole in the wall, I imagine that it's basically like noodles, but made from what they're always made from in this city, which is fungi of various types. The nice thing, at the very least, about the food in Hope's Rise is that there is some greenery amongst them. A very common food that is found as well is watercress and some other easy-to-grow leafy greens. So it's not as if, you know, it's the worst thing, but
it's not wet slop, you know.
Yeah, it's not literal gruel throughout the whole city. But yeah, no, you can see amongst the crowd who are all getting their own food. There is various people who are very clearly civilians, who are working men and women, and you do note as well that there is actually a couple of kids bandering about as well. The way in which kids grow up in this city is quite here and there. There are people who manage to actually, like, you know, keep a fairly decent upbringing for their kids if they stay out of trouble, but there's plenty of orphans, just put it that way. And the main thing you see is that when there is kids in a place like this, they are just kind of mostly running loose and doing their own thing. You occasionally see, like, a gang member just kind of, like, stop one of the kids and start, like, saying something or other to them, clearly kind of scolding them. But you make your way, and yeah, where to?
After eating her slop, she's gonna just make her way right over to I believe it was a one of their larger, like, was it a bistro? Like, kind of just meat dispensary place of the Foundering Creed, I believe.
Yeah, it's also a fairly large domicile, so there is various you know, stuff going on with meat, but and you know, food and all of that jazz, which for them obviously means one thing in particular, but it's also a very large, like, apartment complex where a lot of people live. So yeah, you make your way, and you start the transition from Collector to Foundling Creed is always simultaneously gradual and sudden. There is this kind of slow fade out of people around the edges of the territory until all of a sudden you are just now seeing a completely different gang. The tatted up arms and you know, like, various jewelry and, you know, the stuff which marks the Creed is now in abundance whenever you do see gangs of them around. And as you walk up to the main spot, you do note that you don't like to admit it, but it always smells good around here. Like, really good. Proper fried meat kind of smell. And it's because it smells so good that it's always so, like, unsettling to come here, because you know exactly what the meat is. But nonetheless, you kind of walk in and you see that there is, like, it's essentially a giant food court here. There is everyone's kind of, like, bustling around, ordering various stuff. There's, like, it's like a market as well. Foundling Creed take care of a pretty large amount of food production in their own way, because they are one of the only gangs that have access to a stronghold that is, like, somewhat outside of the reach of the city. It's just barely populated and dense enough of an area in the north that they can actually, for the most part, cordon it off and not have to deal with any of the bullshit of, like, the helicopters going on outside and anyone trying to come in and push them back into the city. So they actually are one of the very few places that has access to just bread. which is part of the reason they kind of get some of their recruits. Is when you're an orphaned kid on the streets and these people have something as substantial as bread to feed you, it can be a pretty good way to sway you to their cause. And sure enough, you can smell that amidst it all as well, is that freshly baked smell amongst all of it. And there is one particular kind of building amongst this food court which very clearly delineates the transition into, like, simultaneously the residential and the kind of business area. It's a little bit more official than the collectors, but by no means is it an office or anything. There is just very clearly, like, higher ranking members kind of hanging around and almost like acting like bouncers at the door. They're kind of stood cross-armed, and they are kind of just waiting for people to come up. You can see that there's, like, a receptionist at what would normally be an apartment complex's, like, desk, just kind of sitting and chatting and doing various stuff.
And once again, she steps up, not going past the bouncers, but also more, very clearly looking towards the reception desk, again, waiting to be attended to.
You get a terse next, and you step up and you see this fairly busy-looking woman. She's quite slight of frame and clearly the bookish type who seems more comfortable in the back lines. And even with that, she is still covered in a multitude of tattoos. They're going up her arms and even up her neck. She's busily writing up various documents, and she doesn't even look up at you from her work as she says, "State your business?"
"Name's Vex. I'm here for the Pact of Filth." And she shows the device.
At that, she glances up. You get the feeling that if it was anything other than what you had just mentioned, she probably would have just completely continued doing what she was doing and talked to you without looking at you. But with that, she kind of very pointedly puts her pen down and stands up and goes, I suppose it does make sense. Wait here one moment. And she just spins on her heel, leaves, and you are left kind of awkwardly with the two bouncers either side of you. Do you make conversation at all, or just sit and wait, business style?
I feel like the most she probably does is, like, she's kind of standing there. It's awkward. She, like, the bouncers, I imagine, are extremely, tattooed and such, like most of the higher ranking Creed members, and the most she probably does is kind of like nod towards one of their tattoos and just, like, give a thumbs up, like, hey, pretty cool, bud, nice ink. Mm-hmm. But that's probably about it.
Yeah, a few minutes later, this lady comes back and she just kind of pointedly sits down and scoots in before she addresses you, steeples her hands and just goes, "You will be seen if you could please pass through the doors to your right." As she indicates, and one of the bouncers steps aside and opens the door for you.
She just gives a friendly nod and walks that way.
You enter the doorway, and it is very promptly shut behind you with an echoing metal on metal as the staircase, which you now find yourself in, winds upwards, and you start climbing, hearing each of your footsteps just echoing out throughout this surprisingly soundproofed area, the hustle and bustle of the food court just disappearing the moment the door is closed. You aren't too sure where you're meant to be going, but sure enough, you get the feeling that it would just be made clear to you as once you've climbed about 3 or 4 flights of stairs, there is, you turn around one of the corners and you see that one of the apartment doors is open, and you can see this fairly intimidating looking woman with a shaved head kind of welcoming you in. Well, welcoming is a strong term considering the very serious look on her face, as she just goes, Vex,
Yep.
this way. And you walk in, and this place is a pretty well put together apartment. It's very cozy, actually. There is, there's warm lighting. There is like a big TV. It's especially big considering it's basically like a CRT, but massive. And it's got something playing on it. It seems to be television from the outside of the city, which is interesting.
It's Vex's pace notably slows as she looks at this machine with kind of glitter in her eyes.
You could see that the signal is a little fuzzy and the audio isn't great, but the fact that it's actual television programming from the outside world is very clearly the point. And more importantly, this thing is man, this is a big-ass fucking TV, and it's pretty clearly a luxury item. You almost, for a moment, don't register the other people sitting and watching it on the sofa, as you kind of get snapped back to reality, as someone just kind of goes, "Can I help you?"
Yes. Name's Vex, here for the Pact of Filth.
Ah, right. There's this huge toothy grin that comes across this guy's face. He's not hugely tall, but he's very clearly quite muscled up. Very obviously makes a point of keeping himself in shape, and he has this fairly dark skin as he kind of goes to you and claps you across the shoulder, not asking first, just goes, "Right this way," and kind of just shepherds you over to a table where you can see a couple of people smoking and just casually drinking a few beers together. There's various paraphernalia on the table, including what looks like the remnants of a meal. Various plates with, the blood of what you assume to be steak was on it.
Ketchup, and tomatoes,
all of that jazz, yeah. And there's this fairly austere-looking individual who, contrary to what you might expect, is this, very gaunt individual with sunken cheeks. His eyes are quite sunk back, his hair is slicked back, and he has these very nicely put together clothes, which it's basically the kind of a casual suit. So no blazer or anything, just, the kind of more of the casual mafia look, essentially. And you can see, strapped to his side, is an engraved and well-kept pistol, as well as one or two other weapons, either strapped to him or on the table, guns, knives, all of that sort of thing. He also has seemingly had his hand grown into a set of claws. He's tapping them against the table, which is covered by a tablecloth, but you swear the tapping sounds like wood, an additional reminder of their wealth. And he looks to you and says, "I see you are here for the Pact."
She just nods once.
"Tell me, are we expected to vote in such a way as to rid ourselves of another pest, or can we take it seriously this time?"
How you vote, or whom you vote for, is not my business, nor my purview.
You're different to the last person we had, then. He was quite particular about ensuring that we understood a few things. But I won't put those assertions on you. That would be rude of me.
We all have our own ways of doing things.
Yes, most certainly. Well, by all means, please, set it on the table.
She does.
Well, Vex, was it?
Indeed.
I do not believe I've seen you before. I don't think I heard your name before now, either.
She just nods. Haven't been around the longest.
Must not have been around when I was, how long? More than a year? More than a year and a half?
She hesitates, maybe for slightly too long, as she sort of weighs her options. I've been around about 2 years at this point. But in that time, I'm not the type to go out of my way to cause trouble just to get my name out there, so...
Well, that certainly explains why I haven't heard of you. I haven't been in a place where I would be given such a responsibility. He kind of drags the device across the desk and goes, I suppose you could say the only one that I have been around for has been Mag. I'll keep you in mind. If you've survived this long, then you must be someone of note.
I just do my job, sir.
Isn't that all we need? We always just need someone who will do their job. Surprisingly hard to come across these days. Sorry, I've been rude. I haven't introduced myself, and I know your name, and I've been questioning you. Call me Charles.
She gives a polite nod. She seems to not like visibly, but she does tense up a little bit. Like the longer conversations like this go on, the more uncomfortable Vex seems to be. But you know, she's holding her own.
Yeah, Charles kind of quite astute registers that and goes, oh, I'm taking up too much of your time. By all means, be on your way. I'm just a bit of a chatterbox, really.
It's no problem at all. It was nice meeting you.
You also, Vax. See her out, gentlemen. And you are ferried out fairly quickly, getting one last glimpse at the TV. You see that on screen is some kind of sport going on. You haven't really seen it before. You can only assume as much considering the fairly unusual sight of seeing green grass on screen. And you can't help but be reminded of the tree, which was pointed out to you by Epherai. But as soon as you can register that, you are ferry outside and the door is closed behind you.
I mean, yeah, she definitely couldn't resist just glancing at it again as they walked out. To Vex, I mean, not only is it the fact that, like, despite the fact that there's no way it would ever fit in her apartment, part of her is thinking, like, man, if I could just get something like that, you know, that would be, I'd be set, you know, like, I'd be done. I'd never have to do anything again. But not only that, I mean, but even just seeing the glimpses of, you know, whatever is going on the TV is, I mean, it's quite literally like visions from another world. And, I mean, Vex especially, but I'm sure just about anybody would find that captivating.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you weren't in the middle of doing a job, you can only imagine that anyone else might have found reasons to stay and keep looking at it. It is... There's this feeling which accompanied you seeing that programming, which you can't quite describe. In fact, could you please make me a roll?
Okay.
Oh, right. Let me
see. The rolls are on a slight delay for me for whatever reason. So, like, hearing you react before I see them is terrifying.
So, it's as the door is closed behind you and you are left in the silence of the hallway that you see that window into another world. As fuzzy as it is, and as fleeting as that glimpse was, you remember the tree from the book. You see that green, so vibrant, even on a screen full of interference and static, more vibrant than a lot of things that you've seen. It's different to the crests and the greens that you've seen in the Grow Towers, always tainted by the blasting of UV light, or if you're in a restaurant where it's being served on top, there's always that grime that comes along with just the way that this city is. Seeing that sport being played on the screen, seeing just the stands full of people in just a pristine world, you have this brief flash of a memory. You are sat in a room and you're waiting for something. And in the corner of the room is a TV. But it's not like the one you just saw. It's more sleek in frame. It's more modern. Not like anything you'd see here in Hope's Rise, at least if you didn't have a lot of money. And Iris, could you tell me what's on the television?
Oh, God. Okay. So, it's not the broadcast or the nature of it in of itself that stuck with Vex. It was just a fairly normal, routine, some local news broadcast, you know, something that you might see in a waiting room, which it sounds like this is. But the reason she remembers it is because in that broadcast, the person being interviewed is someone she knew. It was someone close to her, and she doesn't remember. Aggravatingly, it's almost like just a blur, like they've been censored out of the memory. She doesn't remember who it is or any defining details, but she remembers seeing them on the news and realizing that meant something, whether it's just she recognized them or that it meant something deeper. She doesn't know, but she remembers looking over and just seeing them there.
And that recognition filled you, and you're not sure why it held significance to you. But just that moment of seeing someone you know on a news broadcast was notable. It happened in a place that you weren't expecting it to. You know what waiting rooms are like. It's always just nothing to think about. It's nothing significant. How many visits have you been to that you've remembered? Certainly with your state, fewer than most. But this stuck out to you. Could you please add a memory to your sheet?
I've done so.
Excellent. And yeah, you're kind of left out in the hallway, the stairway. You didn't like zone out or anything in terms of, you know, the world around you bleeding away or anything. It's like any memory is. It just occurred to you. It happened in your mind's eye. But with the way that your memories are, it was so much more. It almost takes your breath away just by virtue of almost like the neurons firing again was effort in and of itself. And you can't help but kind of take a breath in for a moment as it hits you.
As she's escorted out of the building, if such a thing were possible, she would be more silent than usual, just eyes slightly wide. But, of course, she can't share this moment with anyone. It's just for her.
Yeah, and somewhat solemnly, you walk through the busy market, and the sounds don't seem to reach you. Hey gang, you know the drill. Let's do some shilling and some attributions and such. Hope you've been enjoying the episode. This one's just been getting to know the gangs with a couple of nice moments, and I've had a lot of fun putting together some of the soundscapes for this, so hope you've been enjoying. But as usual, I'm just here to let you know that, well, first of all, it really helps if you like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, boost it to the algorithm, all that jazz. Or if you're listening to this on a podcast site, go ahead and rate it if it has a rating system. It is all a massive help. And if you want to help me more directly, then you can actually support me on my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or contribute a little extra if you just want to be cool like that and help me out a bit more. Regardless of whether you do the $1 option or higher, you will still get access to an episode ahead of time. So, you're listening to episode 6 right now, and if it's out publicly, you can get hold of episode 7 right now if you go to my Patreon, which is patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that's eternal_savvy. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet at that handle of eternal_savvy if I am there. That includes Blue Sky and Twitch. And I also stream on Twitch fairly regularly. It's been a little busy these days with editing and just, man, I've just been up to a lot, to be completely honest. But if I do stream, it's on that channel. That's also where I am on YouTube, if you're not listening to me there already. And if you want to catch up with my VODs from Twitch, then that is the only place where I'm a little different. It is youtube.com/staying_savvy. I have been uploading the VODs from my Twitch slowly over time over there with the intention of catching up so that eventually, as soon as a Twitch VOD goes up, it is just already there on the YouTube. Right, well, the only thing left is to say thank you very much to my fans. I got a couple of prompts for, I say a couple, quite a lot of prompts for characters to use in the game. And I have been doing so, and today I will be thanking Sean B for James Boufey. Thank you very much for that prompt. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for considering supporting me. Let's get back to the episode. Bye-bye! What would you like to do next? It is fairly close to the end of the day, but you might be able to get something quick in. Depending on what it is. Or would Vex maybe just head back home?
I imagine, at least, that a number of times when she's out on jobs, I imagine a lot of the time she, these things take longer than a day, and, she just kind of has to camp out. She doesn't, I don't think Vex gets to go home to her apartment every single night. And even though she certainly, could here, I think that she's used to sort of just finding some overhang or some ditch, some quiet place that she can kind of curl up in a ball and defend herself if necessary, and she can kind of sleep with one eye open. That, I don't know, I unless you think it would be a completely awful idea, I imagine she probably just isn't going to go home. She's going to just spend the night out here just so she can get it done quicker tomorrow. But I did have an idea for the last thing she could do today as well.
Right, go ahead.
Well, Lola's place is on the way to the final gang's sort of territory. And for a mix of reasons, one, just, hunger. You gotta eat, you gotta keep your energy up. But also, potentially to properly thank her and sort of take a minute to almost like a Rubik's Cube. She wants to, like, turn this new memory over in her head a few times as well, and this might provide a good setting to do so.
All right. Yeah, so you mosey on to Lola's place. You know the location of it well enough at this point, having seen her barge out of the restaurant onto the edge of the waterway that you had your fight with Elizabeth at. And you go in, and it's at this point of the day where it's like kind of pretty much like the mid-evening. It's maybe like 8 p.m., something like that. And it's the middle of the week where there's like a decent amount of people. There's definitely like people here who are here for dinner. But with the way of how like these things go, it's not like rammed or anything, especially considering that Lola's place, from what you understand, isn't like a hot spot of any kinds. It's kind of one of those restaurants that you might find in a back alley, and it's like surprisingly good, and you make a note to go back there one day. And yeah, there's folks just sat on benches having their food, and you sure enough do see in the background is Lola and her various other chefs all cooking away, or cleaning, or just keeping the place in order. You note that she only has a couple people on staff, really, at this point in the day. And you walk in and the bell of the door goes off. And turning to the entrance, you see Lola just scream, just kind of like huge grin, just goes, "Welcome! Oh, hey, Vex!"
She, with a light smile that's mostly concealed by her mask, just sort of, raises a hand in greeting.
Ah, well, and I didn't expect to see you in here, to be honest. I didn't think this was your kind of deal, but sit down, by all means. Not every day you get a Dredge in the restaurant.
She does sit down and, sort of just says, "Well, feel like I didn't get to, properly thank you for the solid you did me."
Oh, you already did. You gave me the money.
Wow, but what better way to show my appreciation than coming in for a bite to eat, and, you know, provided you have a vegetarian option, of course.
She just nods and points at the special board that she has up and goes, "Yeah, we always have at least one thing on the specials board that doesn't have human in it, but hey, if you're asking me, you're missing out." I will at this point as well just elaborate a little. So, the Foundling Creed are cannibals, obviously. The thing about the way that they treat eating human meat is that it is pretty core to their principles, in that there is that kind of sense of respect that comes from it. They eat people who they have reason to have a connection to, whether it's a particularly good fight that they had, or a friend, or a family member that died. And in general, on a daily basis, there is human meat consumed all throughout the Foundling Creed. And it's, you know, the kind of just who cares people who have died. But it's still, like, a little pricier because it is still meat. The difference really is that in other parts of the city, getting hold of meat is harder and thus really pricey. Here you can get human meat, and it is pricier than, like, mushroom-based stuff, but it's cheaper than, like, a beef steak. And so it serves a dual purpose of being, like, you know, a better way to get meat in your system, as well as the special occasion stuff. So there is generally always stuff available on the menu that's just like normal stuff you'd find anywhere in the city.
Yeah, and to respond to Lola, she just says, "Well, I'm on a budget, you know?"
Right. Let's see. So, what can I get you? And you see on the menu there's various options. We don't have to go through them, but you order something of the like, and
she just gets
kind
some
of,
like vegetable soup or something. Probably
Yeah.
probably not too dissimilar from what she had earlier, but that's life.
Yeah, that is how it is. That is how it is. But yeah, sure enough, she prepares it, and you see that over the course of the 15 or 20 minutes that this is happening, some people leave, and she comes over herself with the bowl, and just kind of just goes, not to be presumptuous or anything, but mind if I take a seat?
No, it's your place, right?
She sits across from you, and you can see that she's actually brought over on the platter a plate of food for herself as well. And she goes, yeah, sorry, I don't mean to intrude, but I haven't eaten myself today yet. Gets busy in the kitchen. And you can see on the plate is definitely human meat, as she starts to quite happily tuck into it. And she goes, well, to what do I owe the honor?
Well, I was just in the area, and, it's getting late. Figured, like I said, I'd stop in and just, let you know how much I appreciate you doing what you did. I mean, obviously, I know, you don't need it. I gave you the money, but she shrugs. Why not,
Oh, that's awful kind of you. Sorry if I'm not too over the moon about it. It's just all too frequent for kindness to be not without an ulterior motive. Call me a cynic, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't feel like being cynical today. Thank you.
Well, here's your motive. I gotta eat before bed,
Well, appreciate you coming by. Tell you what, this one's on the house as well.
You don't have to do that. It's fine.
No, it's fine. Besides, how often do I get to say that we had a Dredge in our establishment, especially considering you guys don't tend to like what we like.
No, not always. It's not because I'm a prude or whatever. It's really is mainly just a money issue for me.
Fancy that. Dredge low on money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the, I don't know what all you guys, makes a motion with their hand, view us as, but, it's not exactly living the high life.
Well, to a lot of people, it's a thing to be strived for. I mean, definitely not for me. I'm happy with my restaurant. This place is, hey, it's small, but it works. I take joy in the cooking that I do, and seeing people leave happy with a full stomach is, well, I could go to my deathbed with just that and I'd be happy. But yeah, no, I mean, the Dredge? You guys are the boogeymen. You'll do what no one else will. What else is there to really say? Not every day we get to talk to you.
Yeah, you're right about that. She kind of leans back a bit. Out of curiosity, because, I don't really know how, the Creed's day-to-day operations work, but you've never been to, she taps her finger a couple of times, making a show of thinking about it. You ever been around the, Butcher's Market area before? Seen inside it?
She stops for a second, swallows a mouthful, and goes, yeah, I mean, I go there every now and then. It's a little pricier to get stock from there, but it's always worth it when we can. Usually have to get it from one of the smaller places. But yeah, no, I'm no stranger to the place.
Gotcha. Did you know that, they've got a really big, nice TV in there? actually.
Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me. We like our creature comforts in the Creed. And again, who doesn't?
True. To me, that's the high life, you know, you have a big, sweet piece of tech, and you can see, well, you can just see outside places that you're never gonna go, you're never gonna see. It's like a portal to, it's like an escape portal, I guess.
Never really thought of it like that. I just always thought it was, mind-numbing bullshit on the TV. I've not been much for that kind of thing, and in case you can't tell, not exactly a tech head. Didn't take you for one, mind you. Then again, I don't know what I took you for in the first place, other than, well, one of the big bad boogeymen.
No, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed or anything either. I just noticed it and thought, man, must be nice, I guess.
What, nice to be outside of Hope's Rise?
No. Nice to... what am I trying to say? Nice to remind ourselves that there's something else, I guess.
She takes a second and thinks, and just goes, you know, a lot of people talk about leaving Hope's Rise, or, talk about the outside world. I was born and raised here. Creed took me in when I was on the streets and got me set up. I eventually got myself known for cooking, and that's where I am at now. But, to be honest, everything I heard about that place is, I don't know. Call me simple, call me dumb. I got what I need, and that's about it. I don't need no reminders of the outside world I've never seen.
That's fair enough. She, finishes the last couple of bites of her food. Stands up. Wow. Thanks for having me. It was nice talking.
Yeah, it was nice talking. Hey, more than happy to prepare stuff to your taste whenever you like. Don't be a stranger, yeah?
Sure thing.
Could you please add to your sheet a bond with Lola Lemongrass? You may define your attitude toward her however you wish, but I think it is safe to say that you have made enough of a connection with Lola that it is someone that you actually have some degree of feelings towards them.
Yeah, for sure.
Start that one at 2 Bloodthirst as well, please. So, just to clarify for audience's sake, having bonds to people is mechanically very useful and very good. It is a way to ground yourself, and as a result, each bond to somebody can basically have Bloodthirst dropped into it in order to keep yourself sane, basically. I will say this, I am going to start it at... I'm actually going to start it at 1 Bloodthirst out of 2. So it's not the full 4 that you'll normally get. It is, you can put up to 2 points into it, and you currently have 1 in there. That's to represent that you are not super close to Lola yet. The closer you get to somebody, the more available points you can sink into them.
Yep, makes complete sense. After leaving her place, she will, as I said, find some out-of-the-way little corner between buildings or hidden amongst rubble, and keep one eye open as she rests.
You do so, and I have ticked up the day count already to 4 out of 7. And yeah, sure enough, you have a few moments where you kind of hear some, people just at night going around, and they don't pay you any mind, but you know how it is when it comes to being just sleeping on the streets and stuff. You're no stranger to it. Most people in Hope's Rise have at some point had to resort to it, or have chose to do it. It's just kind of the way of things here. Things have gotten cramped enough in this city that buildings are being built on top of each other, and as a result, it's getting to that point where it's kind of reaching overpopulation. So, yeah, this is normal. But you wake up, and there is another day in front of you and another device to be delivered. Would you like to go do that straight away?
Yep, she's gonna remove whatever tattered coverings for herself she could find, and just count herself lucky / appreciative of the fact that, in the past she did this without, her nice thick cloak and fairly put together outfit that she has now. And just pretty much immediately just start making her way to the Golden Trace.
This is where things are particularly different when it comes to this particular gang. There is a completely different vibe with all three of them, don't get me wrong, but with the Golden Trace in particular, the central point of Section C is notable for being one of the few places in the city where there is what were intended to be skyscrapers at some point with this city in Hope's Rise. It's not like they're these massive towering monoliths or anything like that. They were small by all means, as would be with any starting city, but the particular parts of the city that Section C took over are a combination of the higher value production facilities, which can do particularly high-end production of materials, as well as what would have been probably a very strong office center for the city. As a result of that, the feel of the headquarters for Section C is what you can only assume to be a facsimile of outside world offices and stuff like that. The Golden Trace is set up to look as pristine and as nice as they can, considering the place that they are in. And sure enough, the whole place is almost accented in gold at every step that you can see, whether it's the furniture that has some level of fancy stitching in it, or if the floors, they have tiles with faux gold kind of rimming them, that kind of thing. The place is almost a crossover between a hospital and a proper CEO's lounge, essentially. It's the kind of place you could imagine somebody going to get personal treatment where they don't have to interact with anybody else, and you imagine that's exactly what happens here. If somebody is getting themselves some kind of surgery or mutation installed into their body, the Golden Trace would be the highest class place that you could get that done, and you would be able to get the weirdest and most naturally integrated mutations if you were to come here. Sure enough, you walk in, and there's this completely in contrast to what you've seen before, with the kind of hustle and bustle of different kinds, whether it's chaotic thuggery or, normal people running about trying to get food. This place is... it's not, devoid of people, but there is pretty much just, the service desk, the reception, and then like maybe a few people kind of talking to other people on the surrounding edges, probably getting some appointments sorted out, or like some people just like casually sitting around for the sake of the atmosphere. And it's so much lower of an energy here. Not to mention, the moment you walk in, your footsteps are heard throughout the entirety of this place. And you walk up and you see this very, you know, what's the word? Like sales rep, you know, retail worker smile on the guy at the desk. And you see that he's got these really gnarly looking eyes, which almost have what you could describe as like a rainbow glimmer to them. As well as what you assume to be multiple extra irises inside of them as well. And he has like this extra set of appendages that's coming out from his back that is just like casually sorting things in the background, and what you can assume to be some kind of extra vision enhancement on him as well. But he smiles at you and he goes, "Good morning, how can I help you?"
I'm here for the Pact of Filth, and holds up her final device for him to see.
Ah, of course. So you wouldn't have pre-booked beforehand. It's so rare for any of you to do so, but that is absolutely fine. We expect as much. One moment. I'll call the people we need. And he kind of turns to the side and picks up the phone with one of his tentacles, puts it to his ear, and you just hear like the short like, yes, hello. We have a lovely lady here. It is lady, right? She, her, is that right?
She just kind of like awkwardly nods, yeah.
By the name of... Did you mention your name?
No, but she now says Vex.
Vex, yes. I can only assume that she is a Dredge. She's here for the Pact of Filth.
He's like, no, don't put me on hold. Please don't put me on hold.
Yes, right away. I will let her know. Okay. He goes, okay, bye. Puts the phone down. Yes, so if you could please just take a seat, it will be just a few minutes and you'll be called right up.
She gives a small salute before taking a seat at, I presume, you said there were just a few chairs around.
Yeah,
for, like,
there is. Yeah. You take a seat and you are just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs as eventually you are beholden to a different individual walking into this place. They are notably kind of clashing with this particular aesthetic of the place. They aren't like in a suit or anything like that. This man walks in and he's got this very laid back vibe to him. He's almost looks like he's kitted up to go to the beach or something, in how he's just got like, you know, very sunny weather clothes on. And you can see that he's very clearly got various mutations on him that have altered him in such a way that he almost looks slightly like aquatic. Like he's got these kind of various fins on him and scales, and they are all like very pretty. They shimmer in that iridescent way that some fish do. And he kind of walks in holding, very haphazardly, what you assume to be some kind of cocktail from a nearby bar, as he kind of stumbles over to the front desk and starts just being like, hey, I think I've got an appointment today. I think? Right? he kind of pulls out a crumpled piece of paper from his shorts and looks at it and just goes, yeah, today, and sets it down in front of him, and the service desk guy just kind of goes, yes, it seems you do have a surgery set up today, Mr. Boufey. That is in 2 hours, however. Right. Sorry, I'm not good with time, you know. So I just sit here? If you wish, yes, you may wait. And he goes, alright, and just kind of walks over and sits down not too far away from you and starts sipping away at this cocktail that he has. You think that he must have fucking stolen the glass, because it's not like it's not like disposable. It's just a full-on, like, cocktail glass. Yeah. And he kind of is just sat there, like, tapping his feet, sipping away, kind of, like, leans his head back at one point for a couple minutes before he then suddenly snaps his head up and kind of looks around a little bit. And just kind of goes, He looks at you, seemingly registering that you're sitting there for the first time. And he just goes, whoa, you're, like, scary looking. You don't look like you have too many mutations. I don't know, maybe you're not the flashy type.
She, looks down a bit. Silent for a moment before just saying, I'm not from around here.
Oh, right, like, yeah, okay. Cool, whatever, yeah. So, like, you getting a surgery today?
No, just taking care of some business.
Right, yeah. Name's James, by the way.
Vex.
I'm gonna make a roll for him. Let's do this out in the open, why not? He just kind of sits there and goes, Vex, yeah, that's, yeah, cool name, Say, you know any, like, you know anywhere I can just, like, hang out for a bit?
She kind of, like, glances over. Like I said, I'm not from around here, so... Shrugs.
You did say that. Yeah. Cool. You were mercifully interrupted by somebody coming down from the escalators. You can see that they are dressed up in, basically, like, it's a suit with a proper, like, doctor's lab coat over the top of it. No stethoscope or anything like that. It seems much more like you would see from, like, a scientific researcher rather than a doctor. And he's kind of got this very... He's got this very scruffy beard on his face. Not even a beard, more like just an overgrown 5 o'clock shadow, the kind that you'd see when somebody hasn't been home in a couple of days. And his hair's like, his dark hair is pretty messed up. He's got this pretty notable slouch in his neck as he just kind of like breathes out and just goes, Lex? Is that what it was?
Yeah, she stands up, folding her arms again.
Yeah, ready to talk to you, come on up. Then he just kind of very tiredly turns around and walks into the elevator, which in and of itself is a novelty in this city, to see a working elevator. Which isn't, you know, piston or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's hard in real life too, though. So
true, very true. But he gets in and you follow him, and he kind of just very pointedly and tersely presses one of the buttons, which is kind of like midway up the floors, and you hear the whirring of the cables start to take you up, and he just kind of very tiredly kind of goes, Pact of Filth, hell of a name for this stuff. Right, well, it shouldn't take too long. We'll just get it all wrapped up as soon as we can. By the way, I'm not gonna be, like, super engaged or anything. I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep. Right. The south floor. He gets out and just shuffles his way over to his to what you assume is his office as he invites you in, and you can see that there's a number of people actually, like, waiting around, seemingly probably in the middle of getting consultations for new modifications and stuff to their body. And he sits you down in his what is pretty much a lab more than anything. And you could see on his desk, actually, is something that you are aware of, but haven't really seen too many times. It is a mutation kit. Essentially, it is a set of... It is kind of like this cocktail of drugs which somebody will take in order to make their body more receptive towards gene therapy and changing its literal, like, DNA makeup. It's fairly intensive from what you understand, in that you do have to take, like, a number of injections and such and pills in order to keep the plasticity of your body up in preparation for something like that. And you know that these things go for pretty good amount of money, considering that it essentially gives you a free pass towards just doing anything to your body, essentially. And he's just kind of casually got one slung on his desk there. Could you also please make me a roll to just see if you understand anything in this room?
Oh, nothing.
You look around, and you just see vials, labels, weird hoses and burners.
The Vitruvian Man.
The Vitruvian Man and anatomical diagrams and all this other shit. And you can see that there's just nothing that makes any sense. The fact that it makes sense to this guy in and of itself, you're like, God, this guy probably has his shit together. Even though he is just very pointedly scratching at his beard, probably quite itchy by virtue of him not having it this grown out. And you just see him kind of boot up a very old-looking computer, older, probably around the same age that your one is, but in, like, seemingly not kit-bashed working order, but just intentional build order, which maybe you're interested in that?
Yeah, it's probably the one thing she does understand, so she'd probably just look over the parts, but, not say anything.
It's got the telltale yellowed beige plastic that you've seen on these old computers so many times. And
that's how you know it's good.
Yeah, exactly, because it's lasted a long time. And you can only gather that, like, this thing doesn't look like it's been in a fucking junk heap, which in and of itself would make it something that you would find interest in, because, like, you could probably find some of the original manufacturers, like, capacitors and stuff in there, which haven't, like, bulged out and blown up or anything. And you remember that you are on a hunt for a very specific type of capacitor at one point, which was absolutely kicking your ass in terms of the item hunt for it. And when you found it, it was pretty much the last piece of the puzzle to get your own setup working. God, if you'd had this thing at the time, you would have been glad for that.
Yeah, Vex, as with the TV earlier, just, she does get, as anybody would, a bit jealous of how easy these high-ranking members of the gangs have it, and many times, I imagine, over the course of her life, what life she remembers, she was probably tempted one way or another to join in on a gang, but never committed. Or rather, was committed to not doing so.
You can't help but feel that little pang of, like, comprehension as to why people join these gangs as you see this. The combination of the Foundling Creed and their TV and this computer and just seeing the pretty much luxury that they live in, but you know the reality of things as well. You know that you wouldn't be the one sat up here with, you know, a fully intact computer doing, you know, lazy everyday work or chilling out watching TV in your cozy apartment. You'd be on the streets and you'd be fighting for your life all the same, but just in the hope that you could get here. And that kind of sits with you as you see him just clacking away at the keyboard. And eventually he turns to you and just goes, "Oh, right, so Pact of Filth is, I assume it's the voting on another one of you, right? Or is it something more vague?
Naming a name, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool, right. Right, so I'm not going to be the one doing the voting or anything, but, hey, apparently I'm the only one who's got a fucking free slot at the moment to deal with this." He turns around and pulls out some paperwork and kind of runs it through a very shitty printer, the kind that like shakes the desk as it goes back and forth. In and of itself, something pretty impressive to have in this city. Runs the paper through it, and unlike any of the other gangs, this one is like hyper official. He puts the paper in front of you, and you can see it's even got like a listed like name and like file number of like what type of document this is. And he kind of points down at the bottom and goes, "If you could just get your print name, and I don't know if you wait, oh fuck, I always forget. You can write, yeah? You can like read and write?"
Yes.
Okay, not everyone we get in here can. Yeah, if you could get your name printed and signed at the bottom after just it's just normal bullshit. It's just making sure that you understand that you're, you know, you're just passing this off and it's whatever.
Vex, in the section where it says print name, writes the name Vex, and in the blank where it says signature, writes the name Vex.
He very, like, he just watches that happen and kind of raises an eyebrow a little, and he takes it and he signs on his end as well, and he just goes, "So is Vex your full name?"
Yes.
Cool. Another monomer, whatever that is. What are they called? Oh, whatever. Yeah, so you got the thing?
Yep. And, would, offer the device.
He just kind of looks at it, and he just goes, "Right, so I'm just gonna, like, reiterate, I gotta read this shit out as always. You understand that as somebody who does not have a pass to be in this building, that you are not liable for any injury, or sorry, fuck, you can tell I'm low on sleep. We are not liable for any injury that you sustain while you were here, and you cannot sue us or, you know, claim damages or anything if you do end up getting hurt, since you don't have a member's pass. I need verbal agreement."
Yes.
Cool. Right, right, with all that shit, yep, sorted, oh, fuck, my name's Dr. Lugosi, fucking, hey, whatever, it's the end of what we're doing here, get out of my office.
She kind of looks like a bit perplexed, since, like, all the legalese talk is kind of over her head. She isn't used to dealing with that kind of thing, but just nods and walks out.
You walk out and close the door behind you, and you see all of the people waiting for their own surgeries and such, and you kind of have one thing hanging in your head from what Dr. Lugosi said to you, which was the members pass. And you remember that there is that particular little quirk of Section C, which is that they essentially gatekeep their surgery places and, you know, their higher level of mutation stuff with a member's pass. You literally have to have an ID which you could show to them in order to go in and get them. And what's more, you're pretty sure that their rescue services, for the sake of, like, you know, finding you if you're in the middle of dying or something, is also locked behind certain levels of that pass as well. Basically American healthcare bullshit, right? They like to put on this whole racket of being like this proper company, and they've got offices and all this legal talk and everything, and they talk about suing as if there is any kind of legal system that anyone could go through. Like, they really put forward that they're these like mightier than thou bastions of what the world is like on the outside, but in reality they're just fucking exploiting people for the sake of feeling safe and having the bodies they want.
Much like a gang might do.
Yes. But yeah, you make your way out, and you see James, Mr. Boufey is still there. He seems to have fallen asleep.
She just walks out. She doesn't even look at him.
You do just that.